G'day guys, just wanted to talk to you about something that's cropped up for us and something that we think is really important, and that is using a portable or a compact stove or cooker, a hiking stove. It probably has quite a few different names, like a jet boil would be something that most people would call it, that being the brand, so we're probably less likely to want to call it that just so we don't involve them or point them out. But just wanted to talk about the different types, and we've got one going here. This is a Primus one that I've used for many years. It's not so much really about the brand or the type of cooker or gas stove, but more just in general that they exist. So here's one really nice, compact, small that we have started using. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is less about the actual stove unit itself and more about what makes it safe, how to use it. We know that there's a few new campers coming into the market, especially hiking's quite a popular thing now. Heating up some water for a coffee that I'm going to make myself in a minute is something really common, or putting hot water into dehydrated meals and things. So just wanted to talk about how to do that safely. Point out a few things. Obviously here there's a whole range of different size types of gas canisters that you can access. I'll pull some out, I'm going to delete some. So for a common stove, camp stove like this, or hiking stove, these ones are not going to work. This is a propane canister used for bigger items like big barbecues where you're going to do a whole family sort of thing. So these are just what they look like, really, just to give you a bit of an identity to it. So that's going to be a no for this type of stove. So I think it's just important to know which ones you can and can't use. This one again is a no. This is one of the ones that goes side on, and you would use in those little square single burners that you might access. Sometimes they have a bit of a tray going on where you can cook in and things like that. So that again, that's a no for this style cooker. But then we come down to these. So these come in a range of sizes. So 450 gram, 100 gram, pretty sure that's 100 gram, and then this one, which is about a 230 grams. So you've got nice and small, compact, just not much bigger than a cup. You've got one mid-size like this that this cooker's on now, heating me up some water. And then you've got a much bigger one. So we use ones like this for a much bigger barbecue, like the cob grill that we use. We like to use that big one on there. So it gives us a lot of cooking time, which is really good. So this stove here, camp stove, will be compatible with all three of these, so regardless of the size. It's just more around how long you might want it to cook for, or how much time you want to get out of it. So we'll focus on this one today. This is a really good size for doing an overnight tramp or camp somewhere. Perfect. You'll get a number of cooks out of that. Definitely not going to be running low on gas with this, just 100 gram. So what's really important is in here at the bottom of this, there's a little valve system that also interacts with the valve system in this gas canister. So it's really important that when you screw these on, you get a really good fit. And there's also a ring, a O-ring they call it, a little rubber seal ring that goes on the bottom of all of the types of cookers that you could access like this, that stops the gas from escaping out of here out into the wild and causing some drama. So just wanted to focus on that. It's really important in your initial use, just to make sure that they are screwed on correctly and aren't leaving any sort of gaps, so you're not cross-threading it, will be the other thing that could happen. So should be fairly easy to screw on. It's a finger tighten. It's not, you don't have to apply too much pressure. I'm going to turn this off because this is already cooking, boiling away there. So it's just a finger tighten. How to check that that's sealed correctly is probably something really good. Your stove unit that you have will come with a bunch of instructions that I'd encourage you to read and understand and learn and memorize. But one of the things is smelling it. So gas has a smell to it which lets you know if it's leaking. So there's no smell in this one, so I can't smell it, which is good. Smelling a little bit of it's not going to be a drama, but it's just something to be aware of. That's how you'd do it. If you're at home or you're somewhere where you can access water or soapy water, having a little squirty bottle and squirting it on a small amount on this would start to bubble. It would form bubbles if the gas was leaking. That's another good way. You might see people at the petrol station doing that if you're filling up a big 9 kg gas bottle. That's how they would check that seal to make sure it is good. So that's something there. I just wanted to touch on, this is a really good quality burner, so as you turn that on, you'll hear the gas come out. That's one good indicator. And then you will click the clicker, and normally it would work. In this case it's not. Pretty common. So what we'll do, just so we're not blasting gas around, you could decide to use a lighter, something like this, to light that, or you could use a piezo. This is my preferred because it always works. So you turn that gas on, and then bang, just one click, and that's going. So that's really straightforward. Not sure why that is. There you go. That does work. Just after saying it was a really good clicker, which it is. I was surprised it didn't click there. So any one of these would be an option to get that to work. So that's probably my least preferred, just because it can run out and it's not, I don't know, don't fully always rely on that. That will work, but if you use the lighter, you can do it. This would be my preferred always. In fact, I always prefer this over the actual unit's clicker or piezo system or ignition system, because this has never let me down to use. So what, just while that's going there, what's really important to understand is while your camp stove is going, the whole thing's going to get hot, or any part of this can really get hot. So it's just really good to understand that, because when you're wanting to pack it all up, if you do it straight away, this unit's going to be hot on top, so you want to let it cool down. Just switch that off. One other good thing that's really important is when you go to put this away, so you've boiled your water, you've cooked your dinner, it's time to pack up for the night, whatever it might be. Keeping these stored in a well ventilated area is really key. So don't necessarily just go and put it in your bedroom, in your tent, and assume that's going to be great. If this did leak, or somebody bumps it and accidentally turns on, it starts leaking gas out, I mean, that's something you don't want to be breathing in or run the risk of ignition. So just where you store this, just a well ventilated area. Keep it out in the outer awning part of the tent, put it somewhere else, keep it out of the rain, keep it clean is really key. Maintenance on these should be done or checked and looked at by yourself roughly every couple of months. Will be a good indicator. It'll be in your manual if you're looking at that. So that's actually really hot to take off. I know I've done that now, but that's just something that you just really got to be aware of. So something that happens as well is called cross threading. So that's just where you get this on a bit of an angle and you start screwing it on. So for those muscle guys out there, or muscle people, you might be tempted just to keep screwing it on. What you'll end up doing is it'll leak, and you can run the risk of damaging the canister itself, the thread system, or the thread system in your burner itself. So just be careful and mindful how that screws on. It shouldn't be difficult, and it just gets you to a point to where your finger tightened is all you need to do. So, and that is good to go. So really keeping it, I might turn that on, get this water back up. So really keeping it at a safe, make sure it's used on a flat, stable surface. Don't have it half on an angle so it could tip over, especially when you're boiling things like water. There's going to be no fun for people if that tipped over and burnt somebody with hot water in it, or your stove tipped over itself. So that's another really good thing. So the other point will be these caps. What do you do with those? Do you bother putting it back on? Do you just throw it in the bin? Do you leave it lying in the grass? So obviously not in the grass. Can you throw it in the bin? I guess so. One of the advantages I like to do though is at the end, once I finish camping, is actually just put it back on. What that does is that stops any dirt and debris from making its way down and causing any trouble when you're using that. So that's just something I like to do when I'm cooking. At the end, look at this, we're going to make a little coffee while we're here. It's all about safety really, so you just don't want to overcomplicate things. You want to just have that, chuck that lid back on, saves you having to throw it away. At the end of these, you can get them disposed. There's a few companies that will take them back. You can get things that will crush those down, open them up and crush them down. You can do a few things like that, but recycling those or finding a suitable place to recycle them is a really good option as well. Alright, I don't know about you, but I think I've done enough for a mellow puff, so I'm going to enjoy a hot drink. I'm going to enjoy a mellow puff, and hopefully you find that useful. I'd love to hear in the comments below if you take, here's a question for you, and I'd love to see these in the comments. Do you, in the morning when you're camping and you make your breakfast, do you detach your cooker and put it aside, and then at lunch when you have to make your lunch, do you put it back on, or you want to go make a coffee, do you take it on and off, or are you one of the people that find you just leave it on there throughout your camp and then detach it when you decide to go home? I'd love to hear that. I do that. I definitely trust myself and back myself to make sure I definitely turn it off and things like that. I think if there was something where kids are around and things, I might detach it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, so let us know. Enjoy. Thanks guys.